On the night of March 17, 1985, a 79-year-old woman named Jenny Vinkow went to bed in her ground-floor apartment in Glassell Park, just north of downtown Los Angeles. She lived alone. She always locked her doors, but that night she left one window cracked open just an inch. The California spring was warm, and she wanted the air. She was found the next morning. The killer had lifted the window screen, climbed through, and done things inside that apartment that the first responding officer later said he would never describe. Not to anyone, not ever. Her name was Jenny Vinkow. She was 79 years old, and she was the first. The man who killed her would go on to murder at least 13 more people over the next 5 months, in their beds, in their living rooms, in homes where they believed they were safe. He didn't use a single weapon. He used whatever he found inside. A knife from the kitchen, a tire iron from the garage. His victims ranged in age from 6 to 83. There was no pattern to who he killed. The only pattern was how he got in. By June, the city was on edge. The Los Angeles Herald-Examiner ran a front-page story with a single question: who is killing Angelenos in their sleep? The attacks were concentrated in a corridor running from downtown LA north through the San Gabriel Valley, Rosemead, Monterey Park, Arcadia, Sierra Madre. Affluent neighborhoods, quiet streets, the kind of places where people left their garage doors open during the day and their back doors unlocked at night. The kind of places where the biggest crime of the year was usually a stolen bicycle. Ramirez didn't target specific types of people. He targeted specific types of access points: an unlocked sliding glass door, a bathroom window left ajar, a screen he could cut with a pocket knife in under 10 seconds. Here's what they don't usually tell you in the true crime documentaries. Richard Ramirez was not a criminal mastermind. He was an opportunist who understood that most people's homes are not fortresses, they're invitations. And in the summer of 1985, he walked through those invitations 14 times. Let me give you the pattern. This is what 85 Nights of Terror looks like when you lay it out chronologically. March 17, Jenny Vinkow, Glassell Park. March 27, Angela Barrios, 24, shot in her apartment. She survived. Ramirez was still figuring out his methods. Then a gap. Ramirez left LA briefly and went to San Francisco, then back to his hometown of El Paso, Texas. The killing paused. It resumed on May 29th. And from that night forward, there was no pause, just escalation. May 29, Yu Xuan Lien, 42, and her daughter, 8-year-old Veronica Yu, Monterey Park. Ramirez shot the mother, abducted the daughter. Veronica was found dead the next morning. May 30, Ruth Wilson, 42, beaten and stabbed. She survived, barely. June 2nd, Mary Louise Cannon, 73, stabbed repeatedly in her Arcadia home, dead. June 12, Patty Higgins, 32, throat cut in her Arcadia condo, dead. That's 5 attacks in 14 days. The police had no suspect. They didn't even know all these crimes were connected yet. When you read the Wikipedia page or watch the Netflix documentary, certain names get the spotlight. But let me tell you about Maxine and Vincent Zazzara. Vincent Zazzara was 64. He owned a pizza restaurant in Whittier. Maxine was 44. They'd been married for years, lived in a comfortable home on a cul-de-sac. On the night of March 27, 1985, the same night Ramirez shot Angela Barrios, he entered the Zazzara home through an unlocked door. Vincent was shot in the head in his living room. Maxine was found in her bedroom. What Ramirez did to her body went beyond murder. It was desecration. He carved a pentagram into her thigh with a knife from their own kitchen. He gouged out her eyes and took them with him. He left Maxine's body posed in a way that was clearly meant to be discovered, meant to communicate something. That was the moment the LAPD realized they weren't dealing with a burglar who killed to eliminate witnesses. They were dealing with someone who enjoyed it. By August, the entire city knew about the Night Stalker. The newspapers had given him the name after a witness described a tall, thin man with dark hair and bad teeth who stalked the neighborhood at night. Ramirez fit the description, and in a pre-internet era, the fact that the public knew what he looked like was about to matter in a way nobody could have predicted. On August 24th, the LAPD finally released a composite sketch based on descriptions from survivors and witnesses. It showed a gaunt-faced man with hollow cheeks, dark shoulder-length hair, and a cold, vacant stare. The sketch ran on the front page of every newspaper in Southern California. Ramirez had been in Arizona when that sketch was published. He took a bus back to Los Angeles on the morning of August 31st, unaware that his face was now the most recognized image in the state. He stepped off the bus in East LA, walked into a liquor store, and the woman behind the counter looked at him and then looked at the newspaper sitting next to her register. She recognized him instantly. She didn't call the police. She ran out into the street screaming, "It's him! It's the Night Stalker!" Within minutes, a crowd of nearly 100 residents surrounded Ramirez. They chased him through the streets of East LA, a community he had terrorized, now hunting him back. A group of men caught him, held him down, and repeatedly punched him until police arrived and literally pulled him out of the mob to prevent a lynching. Richard Ramirez wasn't caught by a fingerprint, a DNA match, or a brilliant detective. He was caught because he walked past a newsstand and someone recognized his face. The terror he'd created was what ended him. The community he'd made afraid was no longer afraid. The trial lasted 4 years. Between jury selection, legal maneuvering, and the sheer volume of evidence across 14 murder counts, it became one of the longest and most expensive criminal trials in American history at the time. During the proceedings, Ramirez flashed the pentagram carved into his own palm to the courtroom cameras, raised his hand, and said, "Hail Satan." His groupies, and yes, there were groupies, packed the gallery. Women wrote him love letters. One juror was dismissed because she fell in love with him. A magazine editor proposed to him during the trial. You might ask why anyone would do that. Why someone would romanticize a man who killed children, elderly women, and entire families in their sleep. Here's the answer: confirmation bias. These women had already decided Ramirez was something they wanted him to be, a misunderstood rebel, a dark romantic figure, and nothing that came out in the trial could change that. The human mind is terrifyingly good at holding two contradictory ideas at once. He's a monster, and he's the one I want. Ramirez was convicted on all counts and received 13 death sentences. He died of cancer on death row in 2013 at age 53, never expressing remorse for a single murder. He spent more years in prison than he spent as a free man after his first kill. He didn't pick locks. He didn't disable alarm systems. He didn't have a master plan. He walked through doors people forgot to lock. And for 85 nights in 1985, that was enough. Richard Ramirez is dead. But the question he left behind is still very much alive. How safe are you right now in the room where you're watching this? Is your door locked? If you want more stories like this based on true, verifiable crime, then please subscribe and stay close. And don't forget to follow us on social media for the latest images, videos, news, and updates.